Hello, this is cybersecurity expert Reginald Andre, and we are on day 18 of 31 celebrating National Cybersecurity Month. And today's topic is all about firewalls and why your business needs a firewall. Just a couple of announcements before I start is this Wednesday, we are going to have Jay Hansel of ADP Copiers and Printers going live. And he's going to be talking all about why cybersecurity and what cybersecurity and copiers and printers have to do with each other. Because believe it or not, hackers can get into your copiers, hackers can get into your printers, and all of that sensitive data that you're copying, that you're printing, can be detected and can be leaked to hackers. So he's going to be talking about how to make sure that your information stays safe. Also, next week, we're going to also be interviewing Professor Brian Ferris of Broward Community College. We're going to have a live session because all this month we've been talking about cybersecurity. We've been talking about how to protect your business. But I wanted to take some time to talk about what is the future looking like? How are our young students, men and women out there that's going to school and they're going to school for cybersecurity? How's that industry looking? So if you have perhaps a child, a niece, a nephew, or someone that you know that's looking to get into the cybersecurity realm and career, this is going to be a great interview that we're going to be having with him, and he's going to give you firsthand knowledge of what he is seeing at his school at Broward Community College in regards to cybersecurity, the outlook of the career, and so much more information. So look out for that, and I'll be putting details below on the comments. So again, we're celebrating National Cybersecurity Month, and we're celebrating how to keep your business secure. And today's topic is a firewall. So let's first explain what is a firewall. And the best way I can do this is by giving you an analogy of you having a huge party at your house. You're inviting 50 of your closest friends plus one. So you're going to have about 100 people in your home, in your backyard, inside your home, and you've hired a valet, you've hired a security guard to check in everybody, you've hired a catering company, someone to clean up. So you're really going all out on this party that you're celebrating. So you have someone come in and they valet their car, and then they go to the security. They go to the security guard to check to make sure that they are supposed to be there. So once they get in, you then send them over to your backyard where they're allowed to have drinks and have appetizers, etc. Now, again, we're trying to give you an analogy between what a firewall is. So now you just bear with me here. So you tell your staff, if anybody needs to go to the bathroom, for example, they're only allowed to use this bathroom over here by the pool. And the only people that are allowed in the kitchen are the contractors and staff that we've hired. And hey, security, make sure nobody is allowed to go into the bedrooms. No one is allowed to go to the bedrooms unless they're family members. Right? So the same way you just created those rules for who can go inside your house and which zones they're allowed to do. That's actually the same thing what a firewall does, because a firewall is a device that is inside your network, and everybody has a firewall. If you, even in your home, you may not know it's a firewall. You may call it a router, and a router does have a function of a firewall. Now, maybe the one at your house is a little more basic, but everyone has some type of firewall that will help protect your network. So the same way your firewall is protecting your network, what the firewall does is the same rules. You may have a rule that says any internet traffic, if someone's trying to go to Yahoo, or if they're trying to go to Fox.com, or if they're trying to go to Sony.com, that's the analogy of the bathroom. Anybody is allowed to go there. However, if someone is trying to get into our server, someone is trying to get into our files, that's only staff. And that's the analogy that I gave you with the kitchen. That it's the same analogy that you set a rule, and no one is allowed to go into the payroll folder. No one is allowed to go into the CEO's computer. And again, that's the same example as if we gave with the master bedroom where no one is allowed. So a firewall is typically configured by your IT company, and you set these type of rules because again, everybody needs a firewall. If you don't think you have it or not, common brands are Cisco, common brands are Meraki, Ubiquiti, and if you're not sure if you have a firewall and maybe you just purchased one from your retail, common brands are like Linksys, Netgear, Belkin, and for a business, those are not good firewalls. And if you probably spent, I would say, around 200 or less on a quote unquote firewall router, more than likely that's not giving you the protection that you need. All it's doing, it's routing the traffic. So if someone is trying to get into your network, you're going to want to be able to protect that system. And now we're going to talk about some of the protection. I'm not going to go too technical, but when you are buying a firewall or when you're considering a firewall, here are the three things that you want to make sure that it does. And the first one is called an intrusion detection system. So many of you may have been wondering, all right, this guy never wears a hat in his lives. Why all of a sudden is he wearing a hat? And what the intrusion detection system is, it actually checks to see, like right now I'm wearing a Miami Heat hat. But let's just say I switch it off and say, hey, I'm Disney. I'm Disney right now, but I need to go into this Miami Heat. I need to go into the Miami Heat room. Well, no, you're Disney. You need to stay in your Disney room. You're not allowed. So it's in a sense checking to see if you have the credentials. So if you don't have the right hat, so to speak, it's not going to let you in. Another thing that a good firewall is going to do is it's going to be what is called sandboxing. And a sandbox is like a virtual, I would say like a virtual computer. And let's just say you get an email. When the email comes through your firewall, because all of the, like I mentioned, all the traffic that you get in your network goes through the firewall, the sandbox will actually read the email for you. And when it puts it in the sandbox, it's going to see, is this attachment legit? Does it have malware in it? Does the attachment have a virus in it? Does the link, where, a lot of times the link will say adobe.com or dropbox.com, does that link actually go to that website that it says it's going to go to? Is this a phishing email? And what the firewall can do is determine if what you're trying to open before you get it, I mean, this happens in nanoseconds, and what you're trying to open before you get it, if it's not legit, it will not let it go through, and the firewall will block it. And that is a great feature of advanced firewalls. And the last thing is what is called a deep packet inspection. And what the deep packet inspection does is it actually will look at the information that is trying to go into your network, and it's going to inspect it, as the name says, and it's going to see, is this really coming from who it says it's coming from? Why would this if it says it's coming from someone, Tim, who has a domain in let's just say Fort Lauderdale, but the traffic is coming from China, it's coming from Iran, it's coming from Sudan, wherever it's coming from, why would that be happening? So with the deep packet inspection, it's actually looking for those type of anomalies to see if there's anything suspicious that's coming into the network. And if it's suspicious, or they even have like a list of things to look out for that's trending. And if it's any one of those, it's going to block it. And this is the reason why a firewall is important. So tomorrow, what I would like you to do is go into your office and ask your boss, or ask HR person, or whoever handles this IT, what type of firewall do we have? Does it do deep packet inspection? Does it do sandbox? And if it doesn't, it's something that you truly want to consider doing, because firewalls is another layer of security that you want to be sure that you have, because with cybersecurity, it's like an onion, and you cannot just have one piece of item protecting your system. Like an onion has different layers. Your cybersecurity needs to have that same aspect. It needs to have layers after layers and after layers of security, because even if you have the best antivirus, believe it or not, antiviruses is not 100%. And with having a firewall, that's just another layer of security. So that way, if the firewall is not good, then your antivirus hopefully catches it. And if your antivirus doesn't catch it, your firewall catches it. So we'll be seeing you tomorrow. And again, Wednesday, you're not going to want to miss it, where we're going to have Jay. He's going to be talking all about copiers and how copiers and printers are vulnerable to cybersecurity hackers. And then next week, we're going to have Professor Brian Ferris, and he's going to be talking about if you know anybody that's looking to get into the cybersecurity field, what does it look like? How long does those classes take? What type of background you should have if you need to know about computers. And I'm just going to be asking him all sorts of questions. So look out for those notifications, and be sure to like and subscribe our page so that you can get notifications when we go live. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.